For those who don't know, G2 is a software marketplace and review site. We reach more than 60 million software buyers every year across 2,000 categories of software. And so at the core, what we're trying to do is use data to help both software buyers and software sellers make smarter decisions about software and the go-to-market. So I'm going to take the next 15 minutes or so. I don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to give you high-level insights from the research that we fielded just this year. This comes from 3 sources, so forgive me for a methodology slide here for a minute, but I want you to understand where it comes from. The first is our annual buyer behavior report, which researches over 1,000 software buyers around the world. The second source is G2 Track, which is our SaaS spend management and optimization platform at G2. This is real data from companies and how they're utilizing SaaS and their spend and how it's trending over time. And then we partner with a number of third parties, including Tackle.io and go-to-market partners, a new firm, to help understand what's happening in the space. And they actually utilize our data and interpret it as well. And so I'm going to triangulate these 3 sources and point to some trends and what you can do as a software seller or marketer. I want to start with some good news, because I feel like we haven't had enough of it lately. Despite the economic headwinds we're hearing about, even seeing in our businesses, software spend is continuing to grow. This is really good news. I hope you're all, like, metaphorically or in your heads applauding, because this is great. It's not all doom and gloom. So what you're seeing here is self-reported from our survey, how are companies investing in software? And you're seeing it across 3 different data points and time periods. Last year, we asked, how are you planning to spend in 2022? And over half of people said, I'm going to increase my software spend. We surveyed them again this year and said, what are you going to do this year, recently? And only 46% said they were going to increase. But frankly, that's great, because very few people said, I'm going to decrease my spend, even in this environment. And when we look at next year, people are even more bullish, over half again saying I'm going to increase my spend. This is not a sky is falling situation at all. Across, on average, companies are saying I'm still going to maintain or even increase my software spend this year. Now, we wanted to kind of back this up with some other data to see, does this survey data bear out? So when we look at G2 Track data, this is actual software spend across over 100 companies, and we averaged it. We're seeing that in Q2, software spend is still up 15% compared to Q2 of last year. You can see that there's some softening in the first 2 quarters of this year. It's very slight, and we're still higher than where we were last year. So this is actual software spend data. We take this a step further, and we're looking here at another trend, which is more products are being bought on average than ever before. This is an up and to the right, not surprising. On average, companies have over 100 software products within their companies. What we are seeing is some slight pricing pressure. If you sell software, you probably are nodding your head at this. You might be experiencing this. Slight pricing pressure with the average spend per product dipping a bit, 8% in Q2. So there is money to be had. People are buying software. Where we're seeing a little bit of pressure is in what they're willing to pay per product for software. So not a sky is falling situation. There is money to be had. I'm going to take the next 15 minutes to tell you about some of the themes that came out of the survey and how you can apply that to your go-to-market to take advantage of this environment. And the fact is, while it's not a sky is falling situation, buying and selling software is still hard, and it's getting harder. So when we asked buyers, who here has bought software, by the way? I assume most of you sell and market software, but who here has bought, like almost everybody, right? We're all buyers and sellers of software. So put on your buyer hat, and we asked, during your process of buying software, how often do the following things happen on average? Decision makers change. 68% of people said this always or frequently happens. Stakeholders added regularly, 71%. Project scope changes. I thought I needed a CRM. I think I need marketing automation. 70% of the time changing the scope. And 79% of decisions, this is my favorite one, are consensus-based. Who's the decision maker? You know, it's kind of everybody. So this increased all of these factors year over year. So as buyers of software, our decision-making process is complex, and oftentimes for good reason. I was kind of reminded of, has anyone done a family vacation with 6 or more people, a friend vacation with 6 or more people? Yeah, I did one this summer, we tried. You know, who's coming? Oh, well, it was going to be Joe and Sally, and now it's Joe, Sally, and like 6 other people. We weren't going to bring the kids, but now we are. Should we go to the mountains or the beach? The beach, but now the mountains. Like, you know, and who's making the decision? Everybody. And at the end, you're like, this is no longer a vacation. It kind of feels like that with software. It's very complex. And I thought, well, what are we doing as marketers and as software sellers to make this easier and to help knowing how complicated it is? And I'm going to talk about 3 trends, but before I do, there is this video I'm going to show you did not come from G2, but there really is no better example of how we're not making it easier on ourselves right now, oftentimes when we sell software. And it comes from Walnut, which is a product, video, and demonstration company. They help with product demos, and I think they just encapsulated the experience that we're delivering as software marketers and sellers all too often very perfectly. So if you can tee up the video here.
Shirt, please?
Hello, madam. Gladly. Human size.
Excuse me?
How many traffic lights do you see here?
4.
Hey, can I please have your business mail, if not your personal one, company name and purpose?
I would just like to try on the shirt, please.
Immediately. Please, book a time here.
Can I?
Madam, of course. May I just ask, what pain does this shirt solve for you?
The pain of needing a shirt?
What budget do you have for shirts?
$19.99.
Let me just call a shirt engineer for you.
Shirt engineer is just a freaking shirt.
Bonjour, madame. Tissu magnifique a été conçu à Saint-Cloud. Des générations de maîtres.
Enough! Just a shirt?
Certainly. $19.99, please.
But I haven't even tried it on yet.
Please, book your time here. Book your time here.
Buying software sucks. Let's change that together. Join We're Prospects today.
But wait! Don't you want to join our mailing list?
I could not help myself. Props to the Walnut team for that one. So now we're experiencing buyer pain and seller pain. So what can we do about it? There are 3 key themes that came out of our data. One is the value of community expertise. Who influences software buying is changing. We saw this in our data last year, and it's just getting more pronounced every year. It's really less about companies advocating for themselves and more about people advocating for companies. And we all know this to be true, I think, just inherently in selling and marketing software or anything. Frankly, this is really prevalent in B2C, but is becoming more prevalent in B2B. And buyers are really wary of where they're getting their information. And so 1 in 3 buyers considers your website, your company's website, is the source they trust the most. Now, maybe it's because of that Walnut experience we just saw, that it's a really frustrating experience, and so we're really degrading the value of that experience when that kind of disruption is happening on our sites. But it's also about trust. Where are they getting information from sources they can trust? This doesn't mean the website doesn't matter. It absolutely matters, but when we think about how do I actually build credibility for my company, oftentimes that's not going to happen through the website. It's going to happen through third parties or peer sources. And so this kind of dovetails with when we ask what are the challenges when you're trying to actually evaluate software. If you're not going to the website and you're not getting it there, what are you looking for and what are you not getting? And 60% of buyers cited their top barriers to buying were the lack of credible content, references, or peer reviews as their top hindrances in making decisions that they can trust. So this is actually highly addressable. But oftentimes we think about the website as what we're projecting out, and what buyers are really looking for is, I want to learn from my peers and how they're thinking about you and other companies in the space. And so to kind of put a finer point on this, when we ask, well, what are the sources that you trust the most? The most influential sources are these 4. 80% said these are the 4 things. So if you only excel in ensuring that you are doing well in these areas, you're going to hit 80% of where buyers are actually looking to be influenced and informed in their decisions. That's industry experts, peer professional network, internal influencers, and online reviews from peers. These things all share something in common, which is people, right? People I can trust, who are like me, who are in my function or role, who have gone through a similar decision, and hopefully have some experience with your company to share. So how, as marketers or software sellers, can we lean into this? Certainly peer review sites, peer reviews are very important. But the other thing is community. How can you actually champion advocates and also show up and connect your customers in places where they want to spend their time? I'm just highlighting a few examples of where I, as a CMO, find that me and my team are spending our time. Increasingly, it is in communities. These are some marketing communities. Some of them are spearheaded by companies, some are not. I see software buying conversations and decisions happening all the time in peer communities. I'm part of Six Senses community led by their CMO, Latney, the CMO Coffee Talk community. I see a lot of companies leaning into community, all at its heart coming back to connecting peers to learn from each other. So that's the first theme. Who influences decisions is increasingly about peers and influencers. The second is the rise of third-party buying. I find this one really fascinating. We saw it last year, but it's much more pronounced in the data this year. Software buying is increasingly happening outside of companies, and let me explain what I mean by that. In the Walnut example, and frankly, the entire history of B2B, the way we bought software is, I'm gonna figure out who I wanna buy from, I'm gonna call the salesperson, increasingly maybe I'll go the PLG route and buy online, but I'm gonna go directly to the company that I'm purchasing from. 60% of people prefer to buy directly from you. I would have thought this number would have been higher. But increasingly, people are looking to third-party marketplaces and value-added resellers to buy software. Some people call it like the e-commerceization, which is not a word I can say, of software. And so what we're seeing is that there was actually a 10-point percentage point shift year over year in people who said, I used to prefer buying from you, I now prefer buying from someone else. This is highly disruptive to the way we go to market with software. And so we turned to our friends at Tackle.io, who are experts in marketplaces, and we said, well, what did their most recent, they do a cloud, sort of state of cloud marketplaces report say, and they saw a similar dramatic shift in their last survey year over year, with 61% of buyers saying, yes, I have purchased software through a cloud marketplace. So AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Marketplace, these are becoming increasingly more important. And in fact, 45% of the most recent Forbes Cloud 100 companies are selling on the 3 main cloud marketplaces. It is not just going to be about the cloud marketplaces, though. It's really going to be about showing up where your buyers are and where they're looking to get trusted information to inform their decisions. How do we reduce friction and show up where our customers are spending their time? Increasingly, that's going to be on marketplaces. And so the third and final theme that came out of the data was the need for ease. I think this seems really obvious on the surface. Who doesn't want something to be easy? But what's interesting is I don't know that I often see us lean into ease in our go-to-market. And yet, it is the most critical part of the decision-making process, according to the buyers we surveyed. The 3 most important considerations when they're buying software: ease of implementation, ROI in 6 months or less, ease of use. All of these 3 things share something in common beyond just ease. They're about the post-sale experience, the immediate post-sale experience. Do I think I can easily use this? Are you going to help this be very easy to implement? And am I going to see that value very quickly? And I think that takeaway here is, how do we take in our marketing, in our go-to-market, and the way we sell, how can we bring more of that trust and credibility? This is what the post-sale experience looks like for you, and bring it forward in our marketing and selling process. This is even more important for enterprises. 88% of enterprise buyers says how easy a tool to implement is important to very important to them in their decision-making process. Enterprises, the cliche like they have more money than time, certainly plays out here. And so we actually worked with Go-to-Market Partners, a new firm which launched the other week. They released a report using G2 data, and they did a ton of analysis primarily on growth of software categories in the go-to-market space, and found that there was a nearly 8x increase from the first quarter of 2018, so over the last several years, in software that is helping companies drive existing customer outcomes. What do I mean by that? It's categories like customer success, learning management platforms, onboarding software. So grouping all of those, what we see is there is an increased investment in that, and that certainly plays into what we're seeing in the data. I think a great example of this actually came out as we were analyzing the survey results, and it's from Salesforce. They just launched a new product called Salesforce Easy. I'm guessing they have done a ton of research to say that this is something that buyers value. And we certainly see that to be true. And the way they're marketing this is really leaning into 3 clicks to sign up, easy self-serve onboarding. Again, bringing forward, reducing friction in buying and bringing forward what the post-sale experience is going to be like in their marketing efforts. And so those are the 3 themes that came out of the data. I'm going to wrap with just what those 3 themes could mean for you. I have a mentor of mine, and we were talking about this current climate we're living in, which is creating some challenges for many companies. And he had some good advice, which was never waste a good crisis. So in the next 3 themes and takeaways, I hope that you will take away something. What big swings could you make? What could you be doing now to take advantage of the time we're in and come out even stronger? And the first, on the value of community expertise. How can you think about connecting your prospects, customers, community to each other? And what would it look like if your job was to enable customers and prospects to talk to each other, not just talk to them? The second one is the rise of third-party buying. How do we show up more in places where our buyers are spending their time? And I almost think about this as sort of the P in the 4 Ps of marketing: place. It is increasingly not our websites, not us. So what does that new shelf look like for software? And the need for ease. This has been a reoccurring theme around the PLG space for a while. But I think it's true for everybody, no matter what you're selling today, and certainly in B2B. How do we bring ease into our selling process? Hopefully we're not experiencing the Walnut situation, but also bringing more of that post-sale experience forward when we're actually selling and marketing to our potential customers.